All. In this video, we will discuss about repetition statements. What is the purpose of repetition statements in any programming language? For example, if you want to execute one statement or series of statements many times, we require repetition statements. For example, if you want to calculate 5 factorial, so in this situation, we have to perform multiplication operation many times. So that is to calculate 5 factorial, 1 multiplied by 2, 2 multiplied by 3, 3 multiplied by 4, multiplied by 5. So in this case, we have to perform this multiplication operation 4 times. So in these type of situations, we require repetition statements. This repetition is also called as looping, and it is one of the basic structured programming concepts. Then how to determine how many times you want to execute, when to stop your repetition. For that purpose, we have to use expression. That expression is called as loop expression or condition. Each loop must have an expression that determines if the loop is done or not. If it is not done, the loop repeats one more time. Otherwise, the loop terminates. The flowchart which is shown here executes infinite number of times because here any condition is not specified. That means this action will be repeated forever. Definitely this type of situations we are not supposed to keep in our programs. If the task is done, the loop must terminate. So the test is also called as loop control expression. Before taking loops in C language, first we will see different types of loops. Loops can be broadly categorized into two types. One is a pre-test loop, second one is a post-test loop. What do you mean by pre-test loop? In this case, in each iteration, the loop expression is tested first. If it is true, the loop continues. Otherwise, the loop is terminated. In the case of post-test, in each iteration, loop actions are executed. After that, control expression is tested. If control expression is true, then new iteration is started. That is, the loop actions are executed. Otherwise, the loop terminates. Here is the flowchart for pre-test loop and post-test loop. In the case of pre-test, first test expression or condition is verified. If it is true, the body of the loop is executed. Once test fails, once that condition fails, you are coming out of that particular loop. In the case of post-test loop, first body is executed at least one time. Okay. After that, test is checked. That is condition which is placed, which we have considered, that one is verified. If that condition is true, then again the body is executed. Once that condition fails, you are coming out of the particular loop. So here main difference between pre-test and post-test loop is, in the case of post-test loop, the body of the loop executed at least once irrespective of condition. Till now we considered loop test expression. So that one determines how many times the loop to be executed. So here we have to consider two other things. Those are loop initialization and loop update. In the case of loop initialization, this one must be done before first execution of the loop body. So this initialization may be explicit or implicit. All the loop variables which you are considering, those loop variables must be initialized. Next one is loop update. So the actions that cause these changes are known as loop update. Update is done in each iteration, usually as last action. If update is not done, what will happen? That loop executes infinite number of times. If the loop body is repeated m times, then updating is also done m times. So these two are the flowcharts for pre-test loop and post-test loop by including all three blocks. One is initialization, second one is a test condition verification, and updating of the loop variables. Depending on what type of condition you are considering as test expression, loops can be divided into event controlled loop and counter controlled loop. In the case of event controlled, in the condition place, in the test expression place, you have to check whether particular event is happened or not. If that event is happened, you are executing loop statements one more time. If that event is not happened, then we are stopping execution of particular actions. That means you are coming out of the loop. In the case of post test also, if event is happened, once again you are executing the statements. If event is not happened, you are coming out of the particular loop. Here we are considering counter control loop. So in the case of counter control loop, here we are taking one loop variable, we are initializing with some value, and we are comparing that number with some n value. If that comparison either less than or greater than, like that we can take. So in this example, we are taking that comparison as count is less than n. So in each iteration, you are changing the count value. So where how many times this condition is true, that many times this loop executes. Once this condition fails, that means count value is greater than or equal to 9. You are n. You are coming out of the particular loop. Same thing is carried out in the case of post-test loop. Here is the comparison between pre-test loop and post-test loop. In both the cases, initialization to be done only one time, that too before checking up, before executing of your statements. So for example, in the case of pre-test, if n plus 1 times we test the condition, then actions are executed. That means loop body is executed n times. In the case of post-test case, if number of tests are n, actions are executed n times. Then in both the cases, updating is executed n times. And minimum number of iterations in the case of pre-test loop, that is 0. In the case of post-test loop, that one is 1. So that means in the case of post-test loop, statements are executed at least one time. C language has three loop statements. Those are while, for, and do while loop. First two, that is while and for loop, are pre-test loops, and third one is post-test loop. In all these three cases, we can take test expression as a event controlled one or counter controlled one. C language supports three loops: while loop, for loop, and do while loop. While and for loop are pre-test loops. Do while loop is post-test loop. First one is while loop. It uses an expression to control the loop. As it is pre-test loop, it tests expression before every iteration of the loop. No semicolon is needed at the end of the while statement, but you need to give semicolon for all the statements which are present inside the while loop. The following are the flowchart and syntax for while loop. So observe this flowchart. First expression is verified, and if it is true, the actions are performed. Otherwise, you are coming out of the particular loop. In this case, how many times that expression is true, that many times actions are performed. Take the syntax of this while loop. While expression, if this expression is true, these actions are performed. Once again, expression is verified. If expression fails, you are coming out of the particular while loop. Next loop in C language is for loop. It uses three expressions. First one is initialization statement. Second one is limit test expression. Third one is updating expression. These three expressions are present in a single line, and each expression is separated by a semicolon. Giving of these expressions is optional. If you give or do not give these expressions compulsorily, you need to keep semicolons in the loop for statement. If you don't give any test condition, then loop continuously executes infinite number of times. The following are flowchart and this syntax for loop. So here in the case of flowchart, expression 1, that is initialization statement, expression 2, checking the condition. If that expression 2 is true, then loop continues, and whenever expression 2 fails, you are coming out of the loop. Expression 3 is present inside the body of the loop, and that is updating statement. So in the for loop, like this, we have to give three expression. Expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3. So here, these are two are representation of a while loop and a for loop. So here in the case of while, first we are giving the initialization, later expression is verified. Depending on that expression, we are executing these statements. Last, we are updating this particular loop variable. In the case of for loop, initialization, expression checking, and updation. So when this updation is executed, so if this expression is true, after that these actions are performed. After performing these actions, this updation is carried out. After updation, again this loop condition is verified. In this case, in the for loop case, this initialization is carried out only one time. That is, while entering into the loop, initialization is carried out. Next loop in C language is do while loop, which is a post test loop. Here, The statements which are present inside the loop are executed at least once. The do while loop is concluded with a semicolon. In the case of do while loop, testing of expression is performed after execution of the body. That is, after first time execution of the body, testing is performed. That's why the statements which are present in the do while loop are executed at least once, irrespective of test condition. So these are the flowchart and syntax for do while loop. In the case of do while loop, first all these actions are performed at least once. That is first time checking of the condition. Once condition is verified, that is test expression is verified. If it is true, again you are executing these actions. If the test condition fails, you are coming out of the do while loop. So this one is the syntax for do while loop. Do all the statements you are writing, close the bracket, while expression. After that, compulsorily you have to give the semicolon. Next topic is jump statements. C language supports three jump statements. Those are break, continue, and go to. What is the purpose of these jump statements? That is to transfer execution control from one location to other location in the program. We can use these jump statements. First one is break statement. What is the purpose of break statement? This statement causes a loop to terminate. That is, if you use break, you can come out of the particular loop. The loop break statement needs a semicolon. Already we have taken this break statement in the case of switch case statement. There also, once break encounters, you are coming out of the switch case statement. Good structured programming limits usage of these jump statements. You observe the usage of break in the particular loop. Okay, so the break statements takes us out of the inner loop, that is for loop. Okay, that means we used this one inside for loop. That means we are coming out of the for loop. So the while loop is still active. So wherever you use this break statement, you are coming out of that particular loop or switch case statement. Here, some loop representations are shown here. Some are bad loop style. Other one is a good loop style. So in this case, first for loop. Okay, in the for loop, we have not given any initialization, we have not taken any test condition, we have not given any updation, other updation. So this is a bad loop style. Okay, so here we are taking one condition and we are keeping a break here. So if this condition is satisfied, break encounters, you are coming out of the for loop. So next one is while x. If you give if condition satisfied and break, here also this is also bad loop style. So if you want to give good loop style, then where condition is to be given, at that place only we have to give the test expression. Next jump statement is a continue statement. Continue statement is encountered in any loop, then it transfers control to the test expression checking. So that is condition verification. So you observe in this example, while uh, once continue is encountered, without executing the statements which are present after it, control directly transferred to the expression checking one more time. Similarly, in the case of do while loop as well as in the case of for loop. So the use of continue is also considered as unstructured programming. Next jump statement is go to statement. So C supports the go to statements to branch unconditionally one point to other point in the program. So you observe here, go to label. Okay. So once this statement is executed, our control directly jumps to where label is present in the program to that point without executing the statements which are present after go to. So this is the flowchart for go to. So here, as state in the statement 1, we are giving a go to statement, go to label 3. So after statement 1, directly control goes to statement 3 without executing statement 2. Thank you.